Did you know that the majority of billionaires actually work 3 hours or less a day? And then also deca millions and centimillionaires. This is from a Sarah Stanley Fellows study, 600 companies followed, CEOs. Deca millionaires and centimillionaires, they're working less than 40 hours a week once their systems are in place. So what we're going to talk about today is the real science of getting rich without grinding harder. So stick with me. We're going to unlock the secrets of advancing your financial freedom and discover the real science of getting rich, what these people grew up with that we didn't have access to, but here we have it as some treasure for you today. So I got this wrong for a really long time. And by the way, I spent $150,000 in personal development, read 1,000 books since I left my special operations career. There was always another course, another way for me to work out. How do I perfect myself enough to be worthy of the success that I desire? I can't be the only one. In fact, there's a term for this. It's called the Berlin paradox. If I fix myself enough, I'll be worthy of my dreams. And actually, the opposite happens. The old paradigm that maybe you were taught is I can always outwork the problem. And for a lot of my life, I could do that. But that's not the answer, right? We just saw that deca millionaires and centimillionaires, they work less than 40 hours a week. Oprah works less than 3 hours a day on focused effort. And if more work was the answer, single moms working 2 jobs, sleeping 4 hours a day, they should be billionaires. And quite the opposite is true. I'm sharing with you a source document from 1910 that the current billionaires and the wealthy, they're raised with this. And you get that access today. My dad taught me good things come to those that work hard. I trained harder. I pushed myself further. And this worked in my special operations career. I applied these same tactics in my sales career, and I earned Salesman of the Year in just my 3rd year in sales. I earned this award. And just as soon as I won, a year later, I started my own business called Fear Sherpa, which is now Freedom Sherpa. And so I was curious why this rise and grind paradigm wasn't working for my entrepreneurial journey. So my logic was if more was good, then more must be better. But I got fewer results, and I knew I'd missed something. So it led me back to a time when I was selected as just one of 19 college military athletes to start my special operations career. I knew that every fiber of my being, this was my goal. I had a mentor that showed me, you got this. Spent 2 weeks in Virginia Beach with the teams. I just knew it. Like I knew it in my soul. This is what I was going to be doing for my career. So I came home and I cheated. Yes, I went to church and I lit every single candle. And I said, God, if this be your will, this is what I want to do. 6 months later, I was sitting in class, got a call from my class advisor, Brian, you got it. I was going to be a special operations bomb technician in the United States Navy. And so for years, I forgot about that story. I forgot about the power of visualization, that faith, the certainty that I'd used in other areas of my life. I didn't apply it in my business. And so I got used to failing. Clients would enroll, but they would cancel early. My frequency, my energy was actually pushing clients away. And my self-judgment in all of this, I have the skills. I've proven it with awards, my time in the military. What was wrong with me? I was missing a whole dimension. It was my frequency. My energy was actually pushing clients away, and I was working out of alignment. And this is what Wallace Wattles talks about in the science of getting rich, get to align to creation. This isn't a woo-woo video. This is actually about the quantum mechanics of how things get produced in this matrix. So this quest involved me reading those 1,000 books. I invested $150,000 in personal development. I was trying to fix myself. I was trying to force it. It wasn't until I started applying these principles from this book I finally saw the results. Until I started applying the principles from Waddle's book that I finally got it. That's what this video is about. So hopefully I can save you years in your journey by sticking with me here to the end. And the promise here, it's not about grinding harder, but how do I think better? How do I align with my purpose? So what if the universe is actually designed to give you what you want? Most of us choose unworthiness, rise and grind. And so guess what? We get a lot more of that. And if that's you, we have been unintentionally locking the wealth signal. This is going to challenge a lot of everything you were taught. And so most people would rather hear the same lie 1,000 times than the truth once. We know that it's not more rise and grind, right? Single mom, 2 jobs, should be a billionaire, but isn't. And maybe this is your story, certainly mine, because our culture glorifies the grind. We celebrate people getting 4 hours of sleep a night. I'm so busy. We celebrate the executive who never takes a vacation. We praise the employee who answers emails at midnight. We build a culture of competitive burnout where the only trophy is just more exhaustion. For what? Your house that you never really get to enjoy, a fancy car. You only get to drive that to an office that you hate. For me, it was a house and a life that I didn't recognize. I was weary, like the kind of tired where food and sleep doesn't cure it. And this is what I call the great grinding deception. It's the silent promise that if we sacrifice enough, we will be rewarded with wealth and freedom for most of us. And it's actually the backwards law, as Oprah proved. This is a trap. So the real deception is believing the answer is just to run faster as will. Shut up, no one cares, keep going. Take on more, work longer, grind harder. And we've been taught to believe we're in a battle for scarce resources and that for us to win, something else has to lose. This isn't true. That competitive mindset is the very thing that keeps us stuck. It locks our focus on the struggle and what we lack. And as you're about to see, what you focus on, you get more of. The real path to wealth isn't about fighting for a thin slice of the pie. It's realizing that you have the keys to the bakery. So for years, I'm a recovering frantic slicer of a pie that never felt big enough. I was focused on fixing me, taking another course, hiring another expert consultant to fix my problem. I ran the wrong playbook. It took me 7 years and multiple $1 million of opportunity costs lost. I knew that I wasn't put on this earth just to pay bills. I was born for a life of abundance and freedom. And so are you. So here's the problem. No one gave us this user's manual. My breaking point wasn't a single event. It was like the death of 1,000 cuts. It's the quiet erosion of my spirit as the business poured my life into. The ultra wealthy, they're brought up in it. So here's the missing information. The key to all this is to apply it. So this question hit me like a ton of bricks. So if I don't sacrifice for what I want becomes the sacrifice. And I sacrificed everything, my peace, my health, my relationships, my marriage, another long-term relationship, my life, and all of my life savings for a version of success that wasn't making me happy. This is a broken formula, right? So stop it. I was working exponentially harder. All right, so real talk. Seeing the cage is the first step into unlocking the door. My cage was built with bricks. Hard work equals success. I sacrificed enough as a martyr, I will achieve sainthood richness. And I knew that more of the same of this type of grind, martyrdom, wasn't the answer. And I needed a new strategy, a new way of thinking. And this book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, published in 1910, at first I was skeptical. The title sounds ridiculous. The Science of Getting Rich, come on. Felt like a gimmick from another time, but I was curious enough and determined to change my approach. Maybe, just maybe, my mentor was right in reading this every day. And so what if I could align back into the energy and the methodology of how I became salesman of the year, Lieutenant Brian James Muka, and special operations community? I had realized I already knew how to do this, and so do you. So 10X is easier than 2X. I love this book, Dan Sullivan and Dr. Ben Hardy. So they're saying that. Oprah works 3 hours a day. These 10 and 100 millionaires, they're working less than 40 hours a week. And so I think chapter 14, especially, of The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles is the manual. And it's radical and yet simple at the same time. And I want to read and share with you my favorite quote from this book about working less and receiving more now. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by thought. His philosophy was that the universe is made from one intelligent formless substance, a field of pure potential. He proposed that this thinking stuff is alive, intelligent, and always wants to expand and create, Our thoughts are the tools that give it direction. Think of it like a universal 3D printer. The formless substance is the raw material. It will create anything. Your mind, your focus, sustained thought, discipline is the blueprint. When you hold a thought, you impress that shape into the substance, and it begins the process of creation. This is the certain way of thinking that Wattles describes. He argued that getting rich is an exact science like algebra. You follow the laws, the results are. When you follow the laws, the results are certain. This idea directly challenges the scarcity mindset that we grew up in. I notice we're all programmed with the scarcity mindset. There's a limited supply of wealth, and so we have to compete for it. This keeps us anxious and stressed. The abundant mindset rooted in Wattles' philosophy understands that this form of substance is infinite. There is no lack of supply. You're not taking from anyone. When you create wealth, you are just bringing new value into a world from an infinite source. This is creation, not competing. This was the first aha moment for me. All my grinding came from a deep-seated fear of scarcity and running out of time. That's exactly what I got. That was my intention. I was fighting for a bigger piece of this pie, but I was actually standing in this infinite bakery, as are you. So how do I impress your thoughts on the substance? Wattles lays this simple formula. First, form a clear and definite mental image of what you want. Where else have you heard this? That's Think and Grow Rich, definite major purpose. This isn't a vague wish for more money, but a precise, detailed vision, one that you can wrap yourself in with all of your senses. What does this feel like? What do you do every day? Second, you must have an unshakable certainty that your vision is on its way to you. Not faith, certain. I have this. This isn't hope. It's a calm knowing that the thing is already yours the very moment that you ask. And that's all that's left for it is to arrive in the physical world. This is Neville Goddard. The feeling is the secret. If I hold it in my imagination, the matrix responds and delivers this. Third, you must already feel the gratitude for its arrival. Wattles calls gratitude the connector that brings your mind into harmony with the creative energies of the universe. Being grateful before you receive your desires. I'm grateful before you receive your desires. The ultimate act of certainty and faith, it signals that you know it's already here and nothing can stop it. I started to practice this. I stopped obsessing over how and focused entirely on the what. I created a crystal clear vision of my life, living on a 60-foot sailboat, earning $100,000 a month with ease and grace and fun and making the world a better place. That's not a paycheck, it's a lifestyle. Practice being grateful for it as if it was already here in my imagination. It was just for the other people now to start seeing it. It felt like pretend at first, but this is what Muhammad Ali did. He said, I'm the greatest. And the first time that he said it, it was a lie. But he made it true. And so must we. There's the George Michael song, Freedom. All we have to do is take these lies and make them true. And so that's the work. So slowly, my mind shifted. And some days it was easy. Other days I could feel I was butting against the conditioning that resulted in these failures and scarcity. I kept at it. This constant grinding, anxiety, and chest pressures, it started to fade. And it was replaced by quiet confidence. I wasn't trying to force my will on the world anymore. I was creating with it. This is where a lot of people get it wrong. So they hear the science of getting rich, and this isn't you, but they think it's about sitting on the couch, visualizing a check in the mail. And people do that, and that does happen. But what's mine to do in the world that fills me with satisfaction, gratitude? And that's the certain way, operating in alignment with the universe and what's your heart's desires and making that real. This is totally different from grinding. The grinding is forceful and competitive. It's inefficient because it's us operating outside of creation. It's also ineffective because it's born from fear. Acting from fear gets me more fear. Acting from lack gets me more fear. Acting with gratitude gets me more, that's right, gratitude. This is creation, and it's effective because every action is now done with knowing and this gratitude. It's already mine. It's already yours. You don't need to make your vision happen. You act because your vision has happened. Your vision has happened. And these are just the logical next steps of the flower unfolding. So here's the principle of this new way of acting. Create, don't compete. A competitive mind is a poor mind. It sees limits everywhere. The creative mind sees opportunities in daily life. This means you get to stop worrying about what others are doing. You focus completely on your vision and providing massive value. Waddle says, give to every person more in value than you take from them in cash value. This is why at Five Guys, you get the small fries, but the whole bag is full. It's more value, but also the experience. So this is the core of the real wealth shift. Your focus on how can I make the most money to how can I provide the most value for the most people. When you generally enrich the lives of others, money becomes a natural byproduct. You're not trying to beat the competition. You're making it irrelevant. Principle 2, act now and do all you can today. That sounds like hard work, but the difference is it's crucial. It's not about doing everything, but the right things. I'm doing it with total efficiency and with a calm and grateful mind. This is union with creation. So don't worry about yesterday's mistakes. That was yesterday. Let the dead bury the dead. Don't think about tomorrow's challenge either. Right now, what inspires, what feels expansive? Maybe what are you afraid of in this moment? There's a trick in there that if I do the thing I'm afraid of, has the highest leverage. But if I do that work with an anxious, scattered mind, it's inefficient. You're there physically, but your mind is somewhere else. When you act with a mind of faith and purpose, your actions have incredible power. You get to do your work with quiet confidence, knowing that each successful action brings closer your vision. There's no need to hurry. You don't have to worry either. Haste and fear are the enemies of creation. You get to act with purpose and faith. Every single action, no matter how small, should be done with the belief that it's moving you towards your goal. When you're washing the dishes, you're not just washing dishes anymore. You're creating a clean, orderly space that supports the successful person that you are. And that's super attractive to wealth. When you're writing a report or marketing copy, you're providing excellent value as part of the service that you offer the world. This gives every moment of your life a sense of power. There's no throwaway tasks anymore either. Everything is now part of the creative process. This is what inspired action feels like. It is. It's not a struggle. It's a flow. And now the universe gets to work through you, and you're not fighting against it with this rise and grind culture. If the shift from competitive grind to creative action, if this is clicking for you, it's because you're tapping into this deeper truth that you remember. Making this a daily habit, that's the hard part. To help with that, I put together a 7-day guest pass. It's a monthly membership called Quantum Launch, where we drill this every single morning. So check it out. If you're interested, message the word quantum and I'll send it to you. So this walks you through defining your vision, practicing gratitude, and identifying your inspired action today and how to address the fear so we can burn those for fuel. Here's where the modern science meets the ancient wisdom. So for a century, many have seen Waddle's ideas as simply a philosophy or pseudoscience. Here's where things get really interesting. Modern neuroscience is offering a fascinating lens to which we can understand why these principles might be so effective. Words like quantum entanglement also. So what I think about changes the world around me. And so the science, the quantum mechanics is proving this. So we're going to talk about neuroplasticity and the reticulated activating system. These are some of the tools that make this real for us. So we used to think the brain was fixed, but we actually measure it and see it physically reorganizing itself and forming new connections. This is surgery, brain surgery, and creating a new identity. So based on your thoughts and your experience, when you consistently focus on new ideas like abundance or gratitude, you're literally doing brain surgery on yourself and performing new pathways. Thinking in a certain way isn't just mental, it's a neurological upgrade. You're training your brain to see opportunities instead of limitation. These are the inner mechanics of a 4-hour workday and more abundance at the same time. So the first insight leads us to the reticulated activating system. The RAS is a bundle of nerves in your brainstem that acts as a filter for your conscious mind. It's the gatekeeper. We have to direct what gets my attention out of the billions of bits of information hitting my senses. And the RAS filters out what it thinks is unimportant. So have you ever decided on a certain car? For me, it's the GX550. I see it everywhere now. My RAS wasn't told to look for them, and now I see them everywhere because I told it to. So when you create a clear image of what you want and who you serve and hold it with purpose, you're programming your RAS and teaching your brain this is important. Pay attention to anything related to this, and then all of a sudden you start noticing opportunities and resources that were invisible before. It's not magic. It's your brain's filtering system at work. This brings us to the modern application of the certain way. The next part is the systems and the automation. External money systems. These are the money models like Alex Ramosi just taught. So today, the most efficient way to act is to build systems that work for you. Technology is the new leverage. Wealth today isn't built by working harder. It's built with intelligent systems that generate income and provide value without your constant grinding effort. So what's a wealth machine actually look like when you're not grinding? It's about finding a business model or investment strategy. You already have the path. You already know this. It's about transforming how you operate on that path. It means shifting from being a grinder of tasks to a creator of value. The goal is to apply the certain way so your daily actions and your chosen path begin to automatically align and generate the results that you want. This is the real science of getting rich without grinding. Turn your career or your business into an asset that works for you, because now it's an extension of your creative mind, not an exhausted body. The engine is your vision, and it's your faith. The machine is powered by the clarity of your vision and the certainty of this faith. When you know exactly what you want and believe it's coming, you stop acting from desperation in your business. This means you're no longer chasing every client. Instead, you act in a way that attracts the right clients. If you're a leader inside of an organization, start looking through the eyes of the owner. How can I create unprecedented value? Making your advancement a natural consequence, not a political battle. The fuel-inspired, efficient action. Your wealth machine is fueled by doing what can be done today with a calm and powerful mind. So instead of multitasking, applying focus to one thing at a time, infusing it with the purpose and excellence, knowing this is exactly the path. This is how you provide more use value than you are receiving in cash value. This focus makes you incredibly effective. Your output multiplies not because you work more hours, but because the hours you do work are of a higher quality. This is what creates exponential results and collapses timelines, 5 years into a quarter in some cases. So instead of competing with colleagues or other businesses in a race to the bottom, you focus on creation, your creation game. How can you solve a problem in a new way? How can you serve your customers or your company more profoundly? Creation is the answer. When you operate from this mindset, you don't just do your job, you innovate with it. You make your competition irrelevant because you're playing a different game. You're not fighting for a bigger slice of the pie. You're creating a new bakery that only you can offer. This is the blue ocean thinking. This is smart work, not no work. And it's the upfront mental effort that creates the systems of success. So we teach tuning first, going to the end, what are the missing steps in between so that my heart desire becomes a reality that you get to see. So we started this journey trapped in the great grinding deception, thinking the only way to get rich was through burnout. We're trying to force our way to prosperity and operating from a place of fear. That's the backwards law. That doesn't work. Know that. Then we uncovered a century-old secret, teaching us that wealth isn't something we fight for, but it's something we co-create with. It starts with a shift in the thought from competition to creation, from scarcity to abundance. We learn it by forming a clear vision and holding up a faith and being endlessly grateful we align ourselves with the creative flow of the universe. And no more, is it going to work? Because we have the certainty that it's already done. Finally, we saw how modern neuroscience validates these principles. We can literally rewire our brains for success. And by focusing on our minds, we can change the world that we perceive, turning our chosen path into a wealth-generating machine. The real science of getting rich is this. You are a creator in a creative universe. Your faith is the fuel, and your inspired actions are the builders. Wealth is not a reward for your suffering. It's the natural result of aligning your mind with creation and providing massive value. You're the active creator of your destiny. And if this resonates with you, share this with somebody who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to stop knowing, start doing, come meet the community of people already winning through creation and not competition. Rise and Grind is dead. We're the creators. Message me the word quantum for your invite. The power to build a life of abundance, freedom, and joy isn't out there. It's in you right now. Thanks for watching. Cheers.